Hi guys, I'm back with more math for you. So last week you worked on adding like fractions. This week is about subtracting like fractions. Like fractions mean they have the same denominator, so we'll be able to do these pretty easily. This first page is giving you a couple of different ways to do that. The first way that it shows you is with a fraction bar, so I'm going to go ahead and show you that piece of it. We do multiple strategies to make sure that we have different ways to solve a problem. We don't always have to use this particular strategy, but I want to make sure that you have all the strategies in your pocket so that when you do come across a problem, if it's not working one way for you, you have another way to take a look at it and see if you can solve it. So let's take a look at the first one on your page. You have example 1 says about 7/10 of Earth's surface is covered by oceans. The Pacific Ocean is the largest ocean and covers about 3/10 of Earth's surface. How much of Earth's surface is covered by the oceans other than the Pacific? Okay, so altogether, the world is covered by 7/10. 7/10 of the Earth's surface is covered by oceans. The Pacific Ocean is 3/10 of that. They want to know how much is the rest of the oceans. This is the total oceans. This is Pacific. We're going to do a subtraction problem here. Let's go ahead and do our easy way for subtraction, which is the denominators are the same. It stays the same. You subtract the numerator. 7 minus 3 is 4. Now, one of the ways that they show you to solve that is to use fraction tiles. We can start out by making a fraction bar, which is where we contain those fraction tiles. We're going to split it up into tenths because that's the denominator we're working with. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we are going to start with 7/10. That would be me coloring in 7 of these little bars. 6, 7. They want us to take 3 of them away. The way that we show that is by crossing them out. 1, 2, 3. So how many are we left with that are not crossed out? That would be a total of 4/10. Now, we are not finished with this problem because we have a fraction that's not in simplest form. Remember, before we learned how to simplify fractions, and to simplify a fraction, you're going to be using division to make a fraction smaller. Now, you have to be able to have a factor that both of these numbers share. One of the ways that you can find that is by listing factors for each number. So factors for 4, that would be numbers that you multiply together to make 4. You could do 1 times 4, or you could do 2 times 2. Let's list the factors of 10. You could do 1 times 10, 2 times 5. That's pretty much it. We are looking for the greatest common factor. So in these two numbers, what factors do they share? Well, it looks like the only factor that they share, the largest one, happens to be a 2. So that tells me we're going to come over here to our original answer and we're going to divide the top and bottom of it by 2 to create a simplified fraction. So 4 divided by 2 is 2. 10 divided by 2 is 5. So simplifying fractions is just a matter of taking the fraction, finding a factor that they have in common, and dividing both the numerator and the denominator by that factor. So when it says in simplest form, you'll know how to do that. Let's see. On the back of this, you're using a chart, and it's the same kind of thing. The table shows the amount of rainfall several cities received in a recent month. How much more rain did Centerville receive than Brushton? Right in simplest form. Okay, let's go up here and we'll take the information we need from the chart. So how much more did Centerville receive than Brushton? Well, Centerville received 9/10. Let's see up here. Brushton received 3/10. So when I'm trying to find out how much more, I'm going to be doing a subtraction problem. So 9/10 minus 3/10. Our denominator is going to stay the same. 9 minus 3 is 6. We need to simplify this. We need to find a factor that both of these numbers share. Well, they're both even numbers, so sometimes it's as simple as dividing by 2. You can always try that. If you need to divide by another number, you can. 6 divided by 2 is 3. 10 divided by 2 is 5. And I know that I'm finished because these are both prime numbers, so I can't divide them by anything else. So we're going to be using that information to fill in these blanks here, all right? Bottom half of it is the same kind of thing. It wants you to subtract and write the difference in simplest form. Take a look at number 1 down here. 5/7 minus 3/7. Okay? Denominator stays the same. 5 minus 3 is 2. Are there any factors that these two numbers share so that I could simplify? No, because 7 is a prime number. If you ever need to practice, you can always list the factors like we did before. To make 2, the only way to do it is 1 times 2 because it's prime. Same thing with 7. The only way to make 7 is 1 times 7. The only thing that they have in common is this 1. And just for grins, let's watch what happens. We're going to make this our answer, so don't forget. That's the answer, leave it alone. But if you did this and you mistakenly said, oh, they have a 1 in common. What happens if I take 2/7 and I divide by 1? 2 divided by 1 is 2. 7 divided by 1 is 7. Did you notice I did not make a new fraction because these are both prime numbers. So just something to think about. Dividing by 1 is going to give you that same answer, so you don't necessarily want to do that. On the back of this page, we have some more story problems that involve subtracting fractions. I don't think you're going to have a difficult time with that. I think you just need to make sure that you remember that you need to simplify. You need to find a factor that both numbers share if you can, and make sure that you divide by that number. Let's do one of the questions on the bottom down here. Let's see. How about number 18? It says Chris spent 5/6 of an hour drawing and 2/6 of an hour reading. How much more time did he spend drawing than reading? Okay, so he spent 5/6, I'm going to put a D for drawing up there, and he spent 2/6 reading. If I want to know how much more this number is than this one, I'm going to do a subtraction problem. My denominators are the same, so I'm going to keep it the same. 5 minus 2 is 3. Here we are again. We need to simplify. So we need to look at what factors these numbers have in common. So what are the factors of 3? The only way I can make 3 is 1 times 3 because it's prime. How about 6? 1 times 6 and 2 times 3. What is the greatest common factor that these two share? Here it is, right here. It's a 3. This tells me I can divide the top and the bottom by 3, and I can make a new fraction that's simplified. So 3 divided by 3 is 1, and 6 divided by 3 is 2. This is the answer that they're looking for. This is the simplified fraction. Okay, it just takes practice, but you guys can do it. If you have any questions, you know how to get a hold of me.